We're good?
We're missing Keith, basically.
Well, yeah, I know. All right. Definitely not gonna be able to read this. Here it is. No. All right, here we go. All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Matthew Kwame. Welcome all of you to our first regular meeting of the Pierce LSC Council, local school council. So before I get going on the agenda here, I'd like to go ahead and read our notes for our meeting. So throughout the meeting, that's fine. We're committed to be an active, engaged, contributing participant by sharing perspective and actively listening to others, to be flexible and respectful of others' time and decisions, to be open to others' truths and perspectives, be reminded of differences in cultural and social backgrounds, be transparent about concerns, challenges, and misunderstandings, be reflective, collaborative, and supportive, and always take the work back to student achievement. What can we do to make things better for our students, both academically and social-emotionally? Respect student, staff, and LSC member confidentiality unless there's a threat to safety. Meetings should be paused if LSC members or meeting participants experience harm due to their identity, including but not limited to gender, sexual orientation, race, etc. The harm should be named. Understand that not everything has a right now solution, and trust that the process is ongoing. With that, I'd like to do a roll call.
Lori Zaney, principal. Someone from here.
Megan Topa, teacher representative.
Richard Bailey, Yancey teacher.
Lamont Lynn, community rep.
Como Ramirez, and stuff.
Adrian Kabashi, student representative.
Dave Day, community rep.
Nicole Granity, parent rep.
Eric Oakson, parent rep. And Matthew Kwame, parent rep. Rocky is not here today. Eric or somebody, I think we need, because she's technically the secretary.
Taking notes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I just recalled something that I wanted to say. We went through the norms, and it just dawned on me that today is Wednesday, September 11th. So don't want to just spend too much time on there, but I wanted to kind of pause and kind of reset a little bit and kind of reflect on that day. So the next item on the agenda here is the approval of the order of the agenda for our, I see some new faces here. What we try to do is post the agenda ahead of time, both online. There's a Google Drive where those documents are, and also in the front door when you come in. So this is to kind of orient people as to what to expect in those meetings. So I'd like somebody to make a motion.
Motion.
All right. Any discussions? Any second?
I second the motion.
All in favor? You, motion passes. All right, the next item on the agenda is items needing council approval. You see the first item there is to allow members to join the meeting remotely. This has happened on occasion, and we thought that it was a good thing to put it here as on an ongoing basis, just in case the need arises. So I have to make a motion to allow LSC members to join the meeting remotely.
Second.
All in favor? Two. Motion passes. Next item, so we have a few there. Next item is minutes from the July 11th organizational meeting. Eric, thank you very much for sending those notes. And thank you again for doing what you're doing today. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 11th, 2024 organizational meeting.
I'm trying to take notes at the same time.
Any discussion? Like a second? Okay. All right, Bridget? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. The motion passes. So next item on the agenda is a number of approvals of leasing agreements and fundraisers. First one, approval of Willow House Grief Counseling Group's lease for leasing agreement. I think you had shared that before.
Yes, so Willow House is a grief counseling group that started leasing the space at Pierce last year, and they would like to do that again this year. I shared the dates in my principal's report: September 26th, October 24th, December 19th, January 23rd, February 27th, March 20th, April 24th, and May 22nd from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And they do pay the fee. They do pay a small leasing agreement fee to cover the cost of security during the use of the school. So I will make a motion to approve Willow House's temporary leasing agreement with Pierce.
I'll second. Any discussion?
It's a discussion of just, how did it go last year?
It seemed to be fine. They do their own organizing like participants. They have like a group of people that they have connected with, and then they will often bring new people in. And then we didn't have any issues with them being at the school. It was fun.
My only question.
All right.
I mean, I assume if you're supporting it, you were happy with them being in the school. But
Yeah,
I'm just
because there was
curious.
zero issues, so that was, as long as there's no extra work needed on my end, we're good.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Next item is the approval of Next Floor after-school fee-based leasing agreement.
Yes, so Next Floor would like to offer 3 different fee-based after-school classes. One is called Squishy Circuits, another one is Makers Club, and another one is Build-A-Bot, and these are all basically like designer tech classes for students to engage in after.
Is
So,
it every day?
no, they have, it's similar to like our like once a week program. And it's generally for kindergarten to 5th grade students. So I will make a motion to approve fee-based agreement with the temporary leasing agreement, for Next Floor to use their school as a place to offer fee-based programming for students.
Wait a second. Any question? Discussion?
Just questions. This is their first year?
At Pierce, yeah. They've been, I guess, partnering with other schools throughout the city. It's apparently put us in touch with them because they were interested in offering more like tech type classes after school with like a robotics and design focus. So they seem like they'd be a good partner.
So the assumption is because they've been to other schools, that they've got all their CPS paperwork and insurance and all that stuff done.
They're a vendor.
Cool. That's the biggest hurdle.
All right. All in favor? you. Motion passes. Next item, approval of parent basketball leasing agreement. So that's what you said. Over here. So it's a parent-led league. I think it's more, I don't know how many people I know a couple of folks that play it. They're pretty happy about having the ability to use the facilities here. I haven't played yet, probably won't. Blake, do you play?
I had a kid too.
Yeah.
So what is there again for basketball? They have like a donation fee for people that want to play on several Friday nights a year from 6 to 8. And they use between the gym and the lunchroom, the basketball courts. And we have scrimmage games.
It's like team.
They just create the team when they show up. It's not a
It's like,
competition.
yeah, it's like pickup.
Did that start already? No.
Not yet,
We have to.
but it's not the first time. It's been around for a couple of years.
We have to, like, of course, the best part of the morning with the boys.
Nice.
There you go.
Friday night is taken.
You come on Thursday for the class too.
What's next? All right.
So I'll make a motion to approve the leasing agreement for FOP to sponsor the parent basketball league and use the school's gym and lunchroom for their basketball games.
I already wrote down that you seconded it.
Or, all in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. Next opportunity here, approval for a parent dance classes leasing agreement.
So similar to the basketball games, there's a parent that would like to do a donation-based dance class on Thursday evenings throughout the school year. I think it was similar times, 6 to 8 p.m. So I will make a motion to approve a temporary leasing agreement for the parent dance classes sponsored by Africa.
So you say you have a parent for that already? What type of dances?
I don't know.
Yeah. I had some comments, but I won't make them. Yes.
Who seconds?
I see.
Okay.
Adolfo, we'll see you here with your dancing shoes.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, discussion?
One discussion in this. This is the first year?
Yes.
Okay.
We had approved it last year, but it was too late for them to really get organized. So they're gonna try and offer it again and advertise it to the community.
Cool.
Good.
Okay, wait, sorry. So that's Thursday. Basketball is what day is it?
Friday.
Friday.
So you see, so Wednesday, you come to the LSC, Thursday, you dance, Friday, you basketball.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of PSO yard sale leasing agreement.
And actually, it's not a leasing agreement, it should just
No,
be a
there's a
fundraiser,
fundraiser?
which is letter J, because this isn't held on school grounds.
Okay,
So we can remove that and go to the.
I think that was supposed to say Fall Fest leasing agreement, because that's not on there. And we sent that, when April sent that information with the leasing agreement documents.
got it.
So one of those should say Fall Fest, because that will be on school grounds, but it will need leasing and fundraising.
Both.
Thank you. So,
I'll make sure the minutes say Fall Fest.
yes, thank you. The PSO would like to hold Fall Fest on Saturday.
October 19th.
You have the date?
October 19th.
October 19th, from 1 to 4, but then with 12 to 5 as the times to set up and close.
So there's not going to be a yard sale, or is there? There will be,
There
so there are
is
two of
this
them, two separate.
There are two separate events. The
Got it.
yard sale offsite, so it doesn't need leasing. And so far as I understand, it just needs fundraising. The Fall Fest will be here and things will be sold, so it means leasing and fundraising.
I will make a motion to approve PSOs sponsored by FOP, use of the school grounds on October 9th via a temporary leasing
19th.
agreement.
19?
Did I say February?
No, you said October 9th.
October 19th. Thank you.
So it's for PSO Fall Fest on October 19th, leasing agreement.
Mhm.
And second,
Second.
Thank you. I know my kids are excited about this one. Any discussion?
within the last 2 years, I've noticed, no questions.
All right. All in favor? Motion passes. Next item. So corollary to some of those leasing agreements here. Approval of parent basketball fundraiser. So,
Make a motion to approve the parent basketball fundraiser.
I second.
any discussion? All in favor? 2. Motion passes. Next item, approval of the parent dance fundraiser.
Make a motion to approve the parent blood dance fundraiser.
Second.
And I'm behind on my notes now.
All right. All in favor? Thank you, the motion passes. And then the next item is approval of PSO yard sale fundraiser.
Yes. The yard sale,
September 28th at St. Gregory's.
thank you. So I'll make a motion to approve the PSO fundraiser for September 28th at St. Gregory's for the yard sale. Okay.
Nicole, any discussion? I always find something that, we always come home. Why did you bring this back? Kids. All in favor? Thank you, motion passes. Next item, approval of Pierce Movathon fundraiser. We have a date for that.
FOP would like to host Movathon in coordination with the school on Friday, October 25th, which is a fundraiser that would go to support the arts integration programming that happens with external arts partners. So I will make a motion to approve the Movathon fundraiser.
I second.
What is the Ramadan?
Students walk from Pierce School to the lake, which is like Sheridan and Berwyn, just like east of there, and then walk back. And there's like some type of fruit and juice at the lake. They take a picture, come back, and there's like music and.
Yeah.
And they go back to
And in the
it.
days and months and weeks leading to that day, the students are encouraged to raise funds for the kids, so a little bit of a healthy competition, because in my household.
So there's a need for volunteers for crossing guards.
Right.
I saw Batman one year.
I don't like this one.
Yeah, I know, because, I was going through everything and there was some that were added in, but I didn't have
Okay.
permission. And, yeah,
So-
that one, and then,
The Fall Fest fundraiser.
yes.
Okay, so there's a couple of items.
I don't think we voted on that one yet. Let's move it on.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So I made a motion to approve the Movathon.
I
Stella
second.
seconded.
All right. All in favor? Thank you, the motion passes. So yeah, so there are a couple of items here that, again, What's the process? Can we do that now? We have to, right? I mean, like, at least for the fundraiser, because you have a meeting before.
And next meeting is October 9th.
So we could do that then. What about the babysitting? When is that proposed to be started?
October 18th. We can meet.
Okay, so both of those, okay. So there are two items, so it's PSO, FOP, babysitting, and then the Fall Fest fundraiser that we want to make sure we vote on at our next meeting. Those two dates are after the meeting, so that gives us the time to vote. We have the paperwork, so it's just making sure that we do that before then.
And so I think technically you put them on new business now as agenda items to be voted on next month.
Right.
Right.
I didn't see them. Yep.
When we get to new business, I'll make
Why
sure we
would it
go
vote?
through it.
We unfortunately didn't put that on the agenda,
Okay.
and we need to have that on the agenda so that we can formally vote on it.
Okay.
There shouldn't be any concern, it's just more like a procedural thing. We just have to have it on the agenda so we can vote on it.
So that's for the Fall Fest.
For the Fall Fest fundraiser, because we approved it, the leasing agreement, now we
Okay.
didn't
So we can
approve
like
the.
advertise in good faith that it's.
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And then the babysitting.
Can we advertise the babysitting or do we?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the other thing also is, again, the good thing is both of these events are going to happen after our next meeting, so we should be fine.
Thank you.
And if we're not, then we cancel them. Cancel last minute. So
Or
we
put your name on a
advertise.
Facebook post. Matthew.
Here's Lori's number.
The serious answer is we can just have a special meeting next week to approve it if we need to. The catch with that is you have to announce the agenda ahead of time so the public can view the agenda before you take the action. So if we really needed to, we could have another meeting, but it sounds like we're good. I just want to make sure when we get to new business, I put it in the minutes during new business.
Sounds good. All right. Next item on the agenda. So new last year, we welcomed a student representative to the LSC. And this year, our representative is Adrian Kabashi. So we're super excited to have you. So welcome again. You attended a couple of those meetings, so I think you're a seasoned veteran now. You know all of this stuff. So the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
So there are four, I actually have two things. So for the, they're both mainly targeted at 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
So for the 7th and 8th grade hallways, there's one water fountain to fill up your water bottle, right? There's a few to drink out of, but there's one specific one. And that one, water is coming out of it very slowly, slower than the other ones around the school. And some students are saying that they're missing out class because it takes so long for the water pump to fill.
I
Also, the
had
second-
talked to our engineer about that, so I'll check back in with him.
Also, the second one is, this is for 7th grade. It's since 7th grade and, 2nd grade have lunch together. Some students are complaining that, the line is taking too long and they're missing out on their lunch, since the 2nd graders, obviously, they take longer because, they're smaller, right? So, and an idea that I have is to open the second line. Like, cause there was supposed to be two, lunch lines, but we're only using one. You know why that is? Or-
Yes, so there was a part that was broken on the second lunch line, and they've been waiting for that line to be repaired so that they could open it.
So when do you think, it's open?
That's what, I don't know. I had asked them last week what the status was, and they did not have a date for it. I'll check back on that.
Alright. Yeah, that's all.
When is lunch time for 7th and 2nd grade?
Sorry?
Do you know what time is lunch for both?
I think it's like 12:30 to 12.
I'm sorry, 12. We go to 12. 12. It's the lunches. So lunches are 12, 10 to 12.
Anything else? Thanks, Adrian. Was that?
Nice job.
Yeah. Next on the agenda, principal's report.
So I emailed this out, and then there's extra copies on the table with folks on the visual. I don't read through the whole thing, but I will highlight a couple of items. The CIWP team met in June to review end of year data. And it was the first year of our 3-year school improvement plan, and we made a recommendation to update some of our data goals, which you'll find on the last page of the principal's report. We won't be able to vote on these until the October LSC meeting, because we need to make sure that you all have an opportunity to review the data. And then as an item for the next meeting, we'll want to vote on proposed CIWP goals. We had things that we wanted to celebrate in priority 1, which was increasing the percentage of students moving up or staying at above benchmark in STAR reading and math. We had exceeded our goal in that, which are like the green sections. The baseline column shows where we were at the year before end of the year, and then the school year 24 goals show where we expect it to be, and then the DOY check stands for end of year check and where we actually were at. So the CIWP team made the recommendation to revise the goals for school year 25, and then in a couple of the areas for school year 26, but not to change the reading goals for school year 26. And then in priority 2, we realized as we're looking at our data for MTSS, the way that we worded our goal does not actually make sense when we're trying to measure it. So we wanted to revise the language of priority 2's goal so that we're looking at increasing the percentage of goals met for students receiving tier 2 and tier 3 intervention. So basically looking at any kid who has a goal, like did they meet their goal or not? Versus the way that we had worded it prior, increase the percentage of students who are meeting the tier 2, tier 3 intervention goals in reading and math. And then we wanted to like disaggregate that data so that we could see what the actual percentage of students who met their goals in reading and math was. And then the second goal for our work with multi-tiered systems of support was to change it to read, increase the percentage of students who are having positive tier movement. That means if the student started in the lowest tier, which is considered tier 3, that we wanted to see students moving towards tier 2 or tier 1. Tier 1 is the highest tier, versus students that are like in tier 3 staying in tier 3, or students that are in tier 2 staying in tier 2 without making any movement. And then we don't want to see a regression of students that are in tier 1 to move backwards. And then our third priority area was related to student voice. So we're using the Cultivate survey to measure. There's a student voice domain. Cultivate is a survey that's given to 5th through 8th grade students. And what we're finding is that Cultivate is a little difficult to track over time, because each time the students take the test, or not the test, the survey, they're given a different content area to think about, so that they're not always thinking about like the same content, which is, we're finding is skewing like the data and our ability to like more accurately track it. And so our baseline for student voice was that it had a score of 61. And then at the end of the year, this last year we were at 51, but our goal was to be at 66. And so we wanted to keep our goals the same, without changing those, just because we want to gauge sort of what happens this year. And do we see the same type of fluctuation at each of the administration periods? Because then we may need to think of a different way to measure that so that we can compare the same information each survey cycle. And then we wanted to amend our goal for decreasing the percentage of students with an IEP and students of color who are referred for discipline. So we made progress in decreasing referrals for students of color from the classroom, but we did not make progress with decreasing the percentage of students with an IEP. And so we wanted to shift our goals so that our end of the year goal was the same as it was for school year 24 for students with IEP, and then increase that to 24 the year after. So initially we thought we could get to 14%, and we're thinking that we may be able to get to 24. So that's a preview of what those goals would be. I guess I can pause there to see if there's discussion. And that's a lot to digest, and so I would encourage you all to like really look at the data and feel free to like follow up with me if you have questions between now and the next meeting. Just because it's a lot.
I tried reading it last night. Couldn't get through it all at once.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why Cultivate doesn't use the same data points for the questioning?
I don't know. It's like a survey that's given to us by the state. The University of Chicago Consortium on School Research, I think, helps to create it. And I don't know if they're just looking for like a more randomized sample so that we're getting a touch point, like of kids' different experiences, but it's hard to then measure like longitudinally. I don't know.
When we work if everyone got every question at different times.
So this, part right here, is it only focusing on students of color with IEP, or, students of color just with an IEP, or the ones with behavior issues?
For behavior, well, what we saw is that there's a disproportionate number of students who have an IEP and students of color who are referred compared to our overall demographics, which is why this became a goal in our CRVP. So we were seeing, for instance, in school year 23, 78% of our classroom referrals were for students of color, yet our demographics do not indicate that 78% of our students are students of color. And so, like, that's something that's concerning, and it indicates that there's something that needs to be done to shift that.
I have a question. What does IP mean?
Pardon me?
What does IP mean?
Individual education plan is for students who receive special education services.
And do we have a breakdown of student colors in IEP?
We can't. That was not something that we were like establishing as a goal in our CIW. But we can disaggregate because there is an overlap of students of color who also have an IEP.
Yeah, it would be good to just see the overlap since you're not changing the goal for the IEP. Yeah, maybe 10%, 20%. It would be good to see.
Shifting into component 1B, so when we approved the school's budget, it was based on an enrollment of 958 students in kindergarten through 8th grade. As of September 8th, we had 977 students in kindergarten through 8th grade. And I'm not sure if after the 20th grade we'll receive any additional funds, or if we'll keep our same budget that we had this last year because of the district shift in the way that schools are funded. In years past, we would have received dollars for each one of those students, but they have not indicated whether or not that's going to happen this year. So if we do receive additional dollars, I'll have to work with the staff and the community to create a proposal for the council, and I'll keep you posted on that. Our total enrollment currently is 1,120 students, and that includes our preschool students. And the other thing that I've talked to Lynn about, and I put in our school newsletter, is that part of the poverty index formula, the opportunity index formula, I'm sorry, is that they use the 20th day as the marker for determining what that number would be for Pierce, and by pushing that we get all of those loan applications entered by the 20th day so that we can have as accurate of a number as possible. Something not in my report, but related to our special education program, we had an increase of students enrolled who have an IEP. I submitted a request to the district this morning for 1 additional special education teacher and 2 additional special education classroom assistants. And so they've been taking a little while to respond. My first request over the summer was for 2 additional special ed classroom assistants. I submitted that early July and I didn't get a response until end of August and did not receive the position numbers until the end of the first week of school. So we received some positions back and we've started to fill those positions, but we're still, all of our vacant positions are not yet filled. And then we had submitted a request for 3 temporary SECA positions for students who are demonstrating a lot of need with what we call eloping from the classroom. That means like leaving the class, which becomes a safety concern, but the students do not yet have an IEP. And so the temporary SECA is like put in place until an IEP can be developed. I submitted a funding request to Friends of Pierce that indicated a request for all of the items listed: arts programming, support for school and community events, being able to continue replenishing our school's library, field trip subsidies, teacher stipends, some special projects like redoing the gym floor, a photo montage for the main entrance, a mural for the first floor old building hallway, sports department scholarship for Washington DC, and then also had mentioned the need for like additional staffing. I would love if we could have additional staff members in kindergarten classrooms to help reduce the teacher-student ratio, given the need that we're seeing of students as they're entering kindergarten. It's very different than it was like pre-pandemic. And so I'm just waiting for, like, we just met with FOP last week. I met with Aaron and Steve. And so at some point I'll have a response on where we're at in the The ILT met over the summer to help develop the school's professional development plan. During the BOYPD, I had emphasized the need for us to focus on student attendance this year. I was in a district-led professional development session where there was research that showed that students who are chronically absent in preschool tend to be chronically absent throughout elementary school, and then have a greater possibility of being off track academically and then being off track through high school. And so if we can really get ahead of pre-K attendance, that will hopefully position students in a better place to be on track academically. 16 of our 21 seventh grade students passed a citywide algebra exam and are taking geometry through the virtual academy. And this year we have our largest group of seventh graders with 32 that are taking algebra writing with our 8th grade algebra teacher. And we received $44,000 in after-school program dollars, which is a decrease from last year. I think last year we had about $70,000 for after-school programs, and we're hoping to get sign-out information out within the next week and a half, with the goal of programs starting early October. The Student Voice Committee met over the summer to also look at CIWP Priority 3 and develop professional learning for teachers. The ILT will participate in school walkthroughs, 6 of them throughout the year, to monitor progress towards students having access to standards aligned with rigorous tasks. The STAR assessment for kindergarten through 8th grade reading and math started this week. And so the OI data will be shared with families and we'll be able to look at where we're at beginning of the year compared to end of the year last year. We have our high priority call list where staff members have identified students and families that we think an individual outreach would be great in order to increase access to this school. And so those families were called about our back to school fest in the first day of school. And then there's going to be another round of calls this week to invite families to attend our open house, which is next Wednesday. We've done some work with staff members on our internal crisis plan. As I mentioned, the increased need of students in the primary grades in particular in like supporting student behavior. We refined our internal crisis plan that aligns with the district safety care training and shared that protocol with staff during the beginning of the year. And then Allison Ortoni, who was hired as the temporary acting assistant principal, accepted an interim principal position at Social Justice High School. So Latasha Randall has not yet found a leadership position, so she's agreed to stay on as our acting AP until Ms. Munoz returns. So that was like a really smooth transition. And then stop there.
Can you describe what the ILT is?
Instructional leadership team are teacher leaders who support, in our case right now, the CIWP Priority 1, which is related to instruction, and meet 2 times a month to like review the action steps that we set forth in our CIWP and then to help develop professional learning.
In terms of funding, I see the request to FOP, that's $185,000. Any indication as to, I mean, compared to prior years, what does that look like? And
It's about the same.
It's about the same.
But I think that should be anymore, FOP had not allocated funds for staffing in the past. And so we had a conversation that we would like to consider like some money to go towards staffing. Not as like we're gonna hire a music teacher, but sort of like this discretionary like dollars that go to the school where we could support decreasing class size possibly. And so that money is that like amount is not included in here because we don't yet know if FOP is going to be able to shift their bylaws to allow for that to happen. But I think about 180 is approximate, because there's some projects that have stayed on that list for a couple of years now.
In terms of enrollment, is that expected? Is it lower? Is it higher? What's the?
It's higher, not necessarily, intentionally, but not. So because of like this new funding formula, like we needed to max out in certain places without exceeding 112 students per grade level. We do have a couple of grade levels, like kindergarten, I think is 113 students right now. There were more students that enrolled later than we generally have. And so that's a number that we monitor all summer long because we don't know like how many kids you take from the wait list. And then our current 5th grade is really large and we didn't accept anyone from the wait list there. But we were trying to really recruit for our current 6th grade because that grade I think only has 97 students right now. And we were able to get quite a few registered, but then we had more students leaving. So there's like an in and out. But try to like increase, but not where we would exceed 112.
In terms of the enrollment, over the past few years, have those families that needed outreach consistently been the same or it changed as far as the number or like the frequency?
We see, so we do intentional outreach to all of our newcomers to the US, and so that number is like constantly changing. But then we do have some families that have been on, because we've been doing this is our third year. There are some families that have been on the list every year.
It's been 3 weeks now. How you guys doing?
Week one was horrible. For me at least.
All right.
I was like, we cannot have a year like this. Week two, we've been pretty good. 12 days.
12 days, yeah.
Wow. You're counting over here.
Yeah, first to eighth has been amazing. Actually, third to eighth has been amazing. It's our little kids. We have a lot I need.
Yeah.
A lot I need.
No, nothing?
No, they're good. It's an incremental better every day.
Got it.
They're used to it. They're tired.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't think that's gonna change. It's the same thing in the professional world. Folks 20 years experience are fine. The folks coming out of college, 1 year experience, have twice the needs as the folks 5 years ago. And I can't figure it out. But at a leadership level, we spend all of our mentorship time on folks straight out, and it has nothing to do with professional skills. It's just getting along in the world. I don't think that's going to change.
Well, get ready.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I teach professional skills.
No, you really is the foundation. Gotta show up is number one. Gotta show up.
I'm doing it with 25-year-olds. Share your desk, clean up after yourself. Come to work on time.
Any other questions for Lori? Thank you. Thank you for this. Next item on the agenda is budget. I have put like internal accounts for like 3 months, but I didn't do.
I sent June and July. August is not yet available. So, this council should have received June and July internal accounts.
We did. I believe.
So I'll make a motion to approve internal accounts for June and July 2024. I don't think the last thing I'll do that is, because it's like 1 month.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
So we need a second. I'm caught up with my notes, so I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Well, this is, I think, the first time I've read through the budget. Is there anything that's out of a normal trend, or is this just right where you're expecting it to be at this time?
For internal accounts?
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, we had voted as a council to move a lot of the money from internal accounts into budget lines. And so some of the, I can't remember what's on this one. I don't know if all of the money is moved at that point. So you might see like that whole number decline, because I think it was still around 100,000. And so we're keeping less money in internal accounts because we're needing that to supplement our like budget lines for part-time coaches and for supplies. So that's the biggest difference, is we've generally had about $100,000 balance leaving, and that will no longer be the case.
Allocating a lot sooner.
Well, yes, because we have no additional dollars in our budget to cover supplies and coaches.
Get a motion in a second.
All in favor? Thank you. I have a note here for transfer.
No.
All right.
Next item on the agenda is public participation. So what we usually have is a sign-up sheet there up front for folks to come up and chat. And I'm also going to check, we do have a Pierce LSC email address that we monitor on a regular basis if people have comments or people are sending comments and whatnot. So I'm gonna take a look at the list here. There are two, it looks like we have two of them. Laura?
Yeah, I'm just here.
Okay, very good, very good. And Jess?
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Jess Tansey. I worked last year, but I've got some questions this year. Do I have like a couple minutes? I have a couple like yes, no questions and then like one or two questions.
So technically, it's kind of like public comment.
Yeah.
And
And that's fine. Like I'm not expecting responses, so if I can just run down my list, I'm good to go. Is that right?
sounds good.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great, 2 minutes, I'll take them, thank you, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, I got a list of 5. The CIWP link on the LSC page requires a requested access. I actually like tried to check it before the meeting. I don't know if that's purposeful or not, a requested access, but just wanted to show that. The second question was I saw the Justin Dahl, the Northwestern folks, I think, are sharing out, and I was curious if that includes like a share out that community members or LSC, or if that's just internal to staff. I would be curious about that. 3 is a question if folks at Pierce have attended Cultivate Professional Learning provided by either the district or the CTU. 4, curious about, I'm a new parent, I have a kindergartner, so I'm in the ropes. If and how updates to parents about standards or like curricular progress are communicated like school-wide, for just like insights into expectations and progress at even like a classroom level, if not individual level. And then as a kindergarten parent, I would be curious, I'm sure y'all have your hands full, but it's not, and it sounds like you have your hands full in K2, but just curious about like what parents might learn about the needs in kindergarten and K2 classrooms. And just like what we can understand are happening in our kids' classrooms, and if there's anything that we can do to support or anything. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Great questions. Can I ask you to email the questions over to us too, and then we can kind of integrate responses into like the next agenda, and newsletter, and different things.
Yeah, so it's piercelsc@gmail.com.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Next, Eric?
Yeah, hi, my name is Eric. First time here, really don't know much about this, but I did graduate from here. I grew up in the neighborhood. I went to Pierce, I went to Senn. So there is a few questions I did have. I guess I'll just email them. But one of the questions I did have on this student group, not to harp too much on it, but the student group for policy update 1 for African American and English language learners, and then African American English language learners, and also for the student of color. And why is it just African American? And then I did want to ask, what is the percentage of African Americans that actually go here? If you guys were saying that, I think it was like 78% of them are in trouble, what's the overall percent of African Americans that actually go here? And also just a comment on the teachers. I love the teachers here. A lot of them remember me from 17 years ago. So I'm like, wow, you guys are still here. Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, those are my comments and concerns.
Thank you so much. And again, if you have a chance to send it so we can like send it back. So again,
I do feel like again, I don't know, but 78% is a large number, especially if there's only, hypothetically speaking, 20 African American kids here. And 3 of them, or 4 of them, those numbers are, bigger than what the data would suggest. So I just want to know what that is.
Very good. Thank you. And, like I said, we do have the Pierce LSC inbox. So since the last time we met, there was a question that came in about ventilation in the building. And the question was, so a parent reached out to the Representative Shakowski about a proposed bill. It's called the Indoor Air Quality and Healthy Schools Act. It's a bill that aims to improve school environments for children to learn and grow safely. And the question was, would the LSC write a letter supporting the bill, that bill on behalf of Pierce? So it's a parent that just wanted to make sure and share that information, again, regarding the Indoor Air Quality and Healthy Schools Act. And so I actually forwarded that email to, the group here, just to make sure that we have that documented. I'm trying to see if there was like a specific question.
I remember the question being about filters.
Right, so that's just kind of things. I wanted to touch base to see if the individual classroom air purifiers are ready to go and have fresh filters. That was the question. And then there's somebody about the position for the LSC. That is it for now. We will have a second opportunity here for public participation. Next item on the agenda is community group reports. So we have a couple of the members of some of these groups that always attend, and we're really grateful for that. What we'll do is usually we send a request for comments or for reports, and bear with us. We're still trying to get this right, so we'll do that for going forward. It's a committee thing as well. Now, the first one is Friends of Pierce. So I think, yep. Go ahead.
I'm Erin Metroff. I'm the newly elected president of Friends of Pierce. So I'm taking over for Chad Curry, who held the position, I believe, for 3 years. I'm sure you knew him well at these meetings. This is my first that I'm attending, so very excited to be a part of it. As Lori mentioned, we did meet last week to discuss the funding needs for the school. But I did want to update you all on some of the other activities that have been happening since the last LSC meeting. We did have participation in the back to school picnic. The PSO sponsored, but we were passing out yard signs as well as just information about Friends of Pierce and inviting folks to our first coffee and community, which is at Understudy the first Friday of every month. So that will occur on the first Friday, last week. We had a good turnout. We had some folks who are interested in volunteering for the first time. A good representative of different grade levels as well, some primary, some middle school. It was great to see. We were promoting the need for volunteers for Move-a-thon, pending LSC approval, as well as for Kids Night Out for babysitting. And then for 2024-2025, we are setting up a committee structure amongst our board, and we will also be inviting parent volunteers to serve on our committees. We will have 4 of them, the first being communications, focusing on our website, our social media presence, as well as the Spiritware store. And then we will have a committee on fundraising, which will be focused on our business sponsorships, as well as our family subscriptions and coffee subscriptions. Our third committee is on signature events, which is things like Panther Ball, as well as the online auction, plus Kids Night Out, other Pierce days within the community, where we partner with businesses to raise funds, but invite the community to participate with us and contribute as they choose. And then our fourth committee is on our board structure. We're calling it board development. So they will assist with recruiting volunteers as well as future board members. And there'll also be a training component. We are really focused on operationalizing a lot of our work as we look to raise the funding needed for not just this fiscal year, but also some of the larger projects that don't necessarily have a number attached to them yet. That might be a multi-year campaign. We feel that we need more structure to make sure that we can help with board transition and making volunteers able to plug in as they can and help us meet those goals.
Thank you.
Can I pose a question? For Friends of Pierce, for your back to school festival, were all of your participants, as far as donating, were they invited?
So we were not raising funds during the back to school festival because that was not an approved fundraising event by the LSC. So we're just promoting that Friends of Pierce exists and then directing them to our website if they wanted to learn more. We do maintain a list of donors who have contributed in the past. We don't have any sort of formal email communication with that list. We primarily communicate through our social media. We have a dedicated Facebook group as well as a dedicated Instagram page. All parents and families were invited to the Back to School Fest, so it was kind of an open call, and we were using that as an opportunity to meet people.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? All right. Next, Peer Service Organization, PSO.
Yep. Hi, I'm Helena Sweeter. I am also new to the role as president of PSO, taking over for Michelle Platts. So my first time being here in person, I've definitely done virtual. And I want to start with the Back to School Festival because that kind of fell more under PSO than FOP. It was FOP sponsor. But we tried to reach out to anyone who provides care or services to our students in school and after school. So like the YMCA, Apollo, music house, all the approved vendors. Of course, they did need to be either approved vendors or have a level of volunteer status so they could be on school grounds and interacting with our students. But that it was the goal there was to have families meet their teachers and see the classrooms, which I know is huge for a lot of new families, and to maybe get to know some of the people who might be providing like CERC experience or the different groups that were here after school. So we transitioned a little bit from having more catered food to having it be more the focus beyond meeting the teachers in the school. But we're looking to expand maybe next year and have more of a picnic component with the funding that we have. So keeping it maybe where people bring food and are encouraged to picnic versus having the expectation of catered food because we don't have those funds anymore. And that was to help us get started on the new year. We're kind of hitting the ground running with events as we go on. We've got our yard sale coming up. That was much anticipated because we were trying to do it at the same time as one of the neighborhood groups and they kept moving there. So it's a little bit of a moving target, but that is official on the 28th. So if you have stuff, we love it. We love to take it from you and sell it for the good of the community. And then we are getting involved with having parent groups where parent events where parents and caregivers can meet each other and kind of get to know other parents at the school and feel a sense of community there. We are looking to have a parent mixer at Whiskey Girl. I say the Whiskey Girl at on the 4th, but more details will come out on that later once we have confirmation from the venue. And also, of course, our Fall Fest, which is the big fall celebration. Historically, we've tried to incorporate different holidays or events around that time that students in our population are celebrating, so people feel represented at Fall Fest, what's important to them in the fall. And then going forward, we are looking to work with FOP and support more of the mechanics behind getting people involved, because once people want to get involved, we're like, okay, now go make sure you're on TV and get your fingerprints. And so we're hosting events where Accurate Biometrics comes to the school And those fill up very quickly. People are very excited to have biometrics on campus, which is going to one of their places. There's more of those events and tying them in, for instance, we're doing one next week at curriculum night, but it's already full, so don't get too excited. But we'll have more of those just to make sure people, any hurdles that people are experiencing with becoming a volunteer, if we can reduce them at all, we're trying to work to do that.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you both. Congrats on your new positions.
I know, it's awesome. Thank you. Next here is Racial Equity Parents Group. I know that there's a steering committee being put in place, so we'll reach out to see if there are any updates there. Next, community reports. So the first one is back. I know back at a meeting.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's coming up.
They have one. Yes.
Back to the racial equity parents group.
Yes.
How long has that been in place here?
2021.
I think before
It
that.
was before the pandemic. As far as I remember.
It's taking different forms over time.
Okay, what is it? So I went to one, and I'm just really trying to understand, what is it really positioned to do? Is it just a space that's created where people go, share concerns, or, just want to know what that space is for? Because like I said, I did go, and I went there by accident, actually, because I'm new, so I thought it was dealing with LSC. So I said, oh, I'm going to familiarize myself with potential LSC members. But let's just say I landed there by accident, and I did accept the invitation, and I went, it's just a place we just go and share things, about racial things. It's just a space to share concerns. Does it actually move and go somewhere? Or are we just meeting up, we're sharing concerns, but is this something that when you share it, if there are issues of concern, what happens? I did go to one, so,
I can kind of start maybe to answer that a little bit. So there's the parent group, which I think is what you maybe went to, which is like a community group, right? Volunteer parent run group. And then we also have the equity committee, which is a subcommittee of the LSC, which is subject to Open Meeting Act. So those are like public meetings. And I think they're trying to figure out kind of the differences between those two and the purpose. I think in terms of what the racial equity parent group mission is, I think it's on their web. Don't they have like a website with some of that?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But yeah, it'd be a question for them to probably, answer of like what exactly like their mission is. I know that, the equity committee too has like a mission, so maybe we should like share both of those so that the distinction is clear between the two. But one is part of the LSC and one's a parent group. Yeah. Probably rep, because I don't think the equity committee would have been like an open meeting, like open to the public.
Right.
An agenda,
okay, so we didn't have that.
like a formal.
Sharing,
Was it online or was it in person?
It was in person, Hopley, or is that what it's called? Maybe not Hopley. It's someplace where, they serve beverages and food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On Clark, I just can't remember the name.
Sounds like that.
Speaking of the equity committee,
What's that?
I said, speaking of the equity committee,
Yes.
so I think we were still at our organizational meeting, we're still trying to figure out members or who participated in which group or which committee. I don't know that I know, Nicole, I don't know. were going to be part of it or a member or?
Oh, equity committee?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
I don't think we talked about that. Yeah.
So then, that's gonna be that's gonna be the next item. Same thing with principal evaluation, I think, same thing, that's all in their whole business. We don't really have any reports, nobody has met. I did see, as you mentioned, that there's a new website for principal evaluation, so we need to kind of get on that.
Yeah, because I did not. really-
Pretty quickly. So this is a good segue into our next item here, on update on committee membership. We need to iron these two out. These are the two committees of the LSE, the Equity Committee and the Principal Evaluation Committee. So we need to iron out the membership for those two and then get going on communications and reaching out. I know we want to, and that's also part of, reaching out to FOP, PSO, and back to ask for reports and things like that. So.
Question, so A is not on the LSE?
That's correct. Back isn't. That's correct.
And we have the membership of that already established?
That's right.
Okay. Would be nice to share that, if we have it.
They'll have their Friday, they'll elect our officers.
Okay.
So they have a structure for identifying who their formal officers are, but any person in the school community can participate in those meetings.
So it's probably I'll send an email from our group and then.
So are we voting today to add people to equity committee and principal evaluation?
That's the purpose of the old business line.
Yeah.
Just to kind of turn that up. And
That makes sense. I just would add kind of a note before we jump on these committees, that it's kind of a formal membership. So depending on who, the number of members, you need a quorum then to have the meeting. So if you're going to be a member of that committee, you need to show up so that the committee can meet, essentially. Because if there's no quorum, then the committee can't meet.
And I also just realized that PBLC is not on the committee report, so that's the committee that is a committee of the LSC led by the two teacher representatives.
Sounds good. We will add that to the next meeting. There's the need, the meeting that's part of that.
We have one meeting and it was the two of us, it was the three of us.
Got it.
Jerry and Ted showed up and we have to, it's open to 7 members of the staff that would like to be involved. So we're
Recruiting.
putting information out there, see if anybody wants to do it.
The 18th, so next Wednesday.
I'll make sure we add that to the agenda next time. Thank you for.
And then it sounds like PBLC, so there's 7 members and some LSC members, some non. I think the other 2 committees are the same way. It can be non-LSC members.
Correct.
So we can vote.
Yeah, I had a suggestion about the committees before we vote for them. I don't know if we have time to do it, but I would love to understand what's the mission, what actually was accomplished last year, what was the issues, some of those questions. Before I joined this particular committee, I want to know really what.
Yeah.
So maybe I would ask anyone who was on these committees last year to give us a report out next time we meet, or I don't know what time it is. I know Rafi's not here, and Kathleen, I remember she was on the equity committee.
Right.
But just to get a quick summary of,
Yeah.
here's the mission, here's how often we met, here's the issues we solved, and I think that will help before someone jumps on.
So the description of the equity committee is that the LSC Equity Committee serves as an advisory committee. The equity committee will consist of interested council members, parents, guardians, teachers, and community members dedicated to centering equity at Pierce. The committee chairperson shall be elected by the committee. And that is it. And so I think that was like one of the things that was discussed before, is sort of like with that as being like very broad. It's then up to the committee to really decide where they want to focus.
The Principal Evaluation Committee has the mission to evaluate the principal, and that's done through a couple of, what we've done historically, sent out 2 surveys. One that went out to the parent and community, and the other one that went to the teachers. And then we met to review, and so there are several rubrics in the evaluation portal, and so the principal gets evaluated on these items under each rubric based on inputs from the teachers and the parent reps, and then that generates a consolidated score that is then entered into a database, into a principal evaluation database, I'll call it. So there was there was an overhaul this past season. We didn't get to actually complete that evaluation then, so we need to do one pretty soon here, because that's essentially the only really formal evaluation that I know of, at least for schools in the ISP. No, is that one? Okay. So I just want to make sure that we get that done. So in terms of membership, like what does that entails? By default, the chair of the LSC is a member of that committee. In addition to that, you have to help me out here. I think there's a couple more. There's at least one more member, and really it's coordinating the survey results, coordinating the gathering of those results, and then making sure that it's filed on time. The results are usually discussed during, we do a closed session during the regular meeting to go over those results and then come up with the composite score. And then after the meeting, then usually the chair enters that information in the portal. So in terms of issues, the major issue is that there wasn't one last time, but there's no, I mean, the rubrics, the topics, usually folks are fairly aligned. And again, it's a rating, right? For each person has their own column that put the rating that they're interested that they deem appropriate. And it has to do with communication, it has to do with leadership, it has to do with the general state of the school and what parents and the community and the teachers feel the principal, what that performance is. I will say that last year we renewed Lori's contract for 4 years, and that was also part of. It's because it's staggered over those years. It's the overall composite score is made up of prior years evaluations. That's not just 1 year, right? So there's that component as well. So there's in the Google Drive that we have access to, right? There's a template that we'll need to update based on the new rubrics that are in there.
I linked it in the principal's report
Right,
as well,
okay.
so you all can pull it up from there.
That's correct.
And I aligned like the principal report to the competencies.
One of the things that I'm not too sure of is how many people are, and I think it might be in the bylaws, are supposed to be in the committee. Last year, it was me, but I'm not sure.
Principal review committee will gather information in order to help the LSC evaluate how well the principal is following the criteria delineated.
Doesn't say about how many people or anything like that.
Membership of the following committees will be limited to council members, not to exceed 3, except where 4 or more members of the council wish to become committee members. So principal review committee is just limited to the council. But then the bilingual advisory committee and the LSC equity committee are not limited to the council.
And it's up to 3, specifically for the principal evaluation committee. Is that what you said?
Well, it says you could, basically the way this reads, you could have however many members of the council want to participate.
Got it.
And a quick question, is there a regular meeting? Or
No.
just that 1 year review?
That's it. And, so it's just like the coordination of the survey and the.
You would want to meet, like, to figure out the process,
Yeah.
the communication, approval from, like, the legal department.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
depending on the process, like, when does the council need to do this?
Right, so the survey that goes out, if you follow the template that's provided by CPS,
Yeah.
technically we don't need them to review it, but it's always a good thing to kind of send it out and say, this is what we're going to share. Do you have any problem with that?
So the whole council is part of the evaluation meeting, but this committee guides the process,
Yeah.
And anytime they want to meet, so let's say there's 3 people on that committee, if 2 of them are meeting, that's a quorum, and that has to be a public meeting then. So it's like a publicly advertised meeting.
Final question, you mentioned there was one more committee that's not listed here, which one was that?
Professional Personnel Leadership Committee, PPLC, and that's chaired by the 2 teacher representatives on the council, and they're supposed to meet on a monthly basis with the principal to make recommendations on curriculum, budget, and school improvement planning, and then they would provide a report to the council on a monthly basis. And those meetings are also considered open meetings, and they have to like have an agenda posted, accessible to the public.
Okay.
But membership is just limited to the staff.
To the staff, okay, makes sense. And this question is regarding my role as the OMA. So am I supposed to actually be tracking all these committees in terms of their meeting, whether they're, that was not clear last time, but I have to address that next time. Like, how do I know that they are actually?
They're actually meeting?
Yeah.
That would be helpful, yeah.
Yeah, so in general, what happened in prior sessions or years was that there wasn't even an agenda, there were minutes that were kept. And also it's open for participation if you have the time. So in general, I think it's been followed as far as that's concerned.
That's it.
I think I would recommend that we vote and start these committees up. We can always add and remove people. We just have to kind of formally do that.
Yeah, so there are 2 of them, right? Principal evaluations, it's not to be too self-serving here. If anyone is interested, again, it's really just making sure we're coordinating, make sure we get the paperwork underway for surveys and just going out to the community and bringing out results. And, also helping teachers.
It's once a year, and then.
He said we're meeting once a year. It's actually twice, right? There's one in the spring. The evaluation.
More than one.
Yeah.
The whole process.
It really depends on how the council wants to move it. Sometimes they've met multiple times, sometimes it's pretty quick.
We will find the right balance. All right. So I wrote you down, I wrote myself down, only by default. Anyone else interested?
And that one's limited to, right? It can't be a student and I'm not sure
Correct.
a teacher can participate.
Teachers can participate.
Okay.
There's a couple of extra rules for that one.
Basically, it needs like 3, but any council member can join, so.
And only council members, not.
Right.
not-
I did that training session.
I have some comments about that one in a minute. All right, so we'll put those two, okay, so I'd like to make a motion to, yep, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't, I probably shouldn't have just- it does feel like teacher representative should be on there, so I can.
Yeah. Let's do it.
We got 3.
There you go. Very good. So I'd like to make a motion to, for the principal committee or principal evaluation committee to be composed of Lei Deng, Bridget Fabianski, and myself, Matthew Kwame.
Second.
All in favor? Very good. Thank you. Motion passes. The second item, the second committee is the equity committee. Again, this one is open to non-members of the LSC. I know Rocky was in by she was.
I think that it's that the committee, so the LSC determines who's gonna be on it, and then the committee has to make the determination of membership and process for recruiting members.
Right, but we need to have somebody, right, so we need to, okay, so but we need to set up, so at least we have one person. So the question is, to see if there are other folks that are interested, and we're going to have them in charge of making those, taking those next steps. So, and again, like Nicole said, we can always adjust the membership, but it'd be a good idea to kind of get it set up now. Folks have any interest? Speak now.
Are there any questions?
I personally would need information on it, because from just listening to it, it almost sounds redundant to me personally. So I would need like some type of outline of what has been achieved, what's the purpose, like in front of my face. So for me to even volunteer for it.
Sounds good. So I think what we'll do, so I'll reach out to Rocky and see if we can share. I think we can, like,
I can give like context as to why it became a committee of the LSC. So we done some work with a consultant with the school who just did a variety of work, from working with parents, did training for like council members, for staff. And there was a desire from the community to formalize a committee of the LSC to make sure that equity always like became a focus of the school, regardless who comes in and out of the council. And so by having like an actual structure in place, that's saying to the community that equity is important in our school, and we want to have a structure that will consistently support that mission. Without it, the individual members of the council become involved and lose sight of like this community desire to have equity as a focus. So that's why it became a formal structure. What the committee does is needs some formalization. And I think like our current school improvement plan, equity is heavily embedded throughout the school improvement plan, and that's a plan that's voted on by the council and developed in collaboration with staff and families. And so like our current plan focuses equity, but if that plan did not, then does the community then lose sight of the needs and center?
The question on mine, did you say it's redundant with the other parent group, or?
It's just like the language of it, because the purpose of the LSC and like reading through the documents is like, you can see equity everywhere. So I want to see like, as a group, I know now that why it was formed, but as a group, like where do you see that it's not? I understand like people come and go and equity should be a focus, but at the same time, I want to see like what is the core purpose besides like just writing it over and over and over and over again? What are you seeing as far as year to year that where equity is being missed as far as community standards and from the school as well, versus it just like writing it?
Yeah. I hear you on that. One comment I would have is like the values that you read at the beginning. We know the values, but we, those, the thing is a constant reminder of why we're here. So that's sort of my take on it. Although equity may be everywhere in the documents and having a dedicated value to it makes sense.
Yeah, I would add, I could see it being redundant if the council is already looking at everything with an equity lens, but if the council is not, then that group is there to advise, right, the council and be like, hey, have you thought about these things? Have you looked at this? There's also an opportunity, like as an equity committee, to find out more about like the equity plans of all the different parts of the school, you know, to learn more about it. Like it's in the continuous improvement work plan, like pretty clearly. But are there other parts of the school that we want to invite to talk to the equity committee about, like, okay, how are they centering equity in their work?
Very good. Okay, so, so we have some follow-ups to do. Like, I know there's, in the drives, there are all the minutes and all of some of the discussion items. So we'll put that in. We'll make sure that we share that with everyone.
Like just, I can do it, get it started. Will you join me on that? So I can have 3 people.
I'll join you.
Okay. All right. So I'll motion for Rocky, Lamont, and I to kick off the equity committee.
All right, I'll second. All in favor? Thank you. And we don't need to formally do the PPLC one. It's already in place. Very good. Excellent. All right. Moving on to new business. This is an exciting set of items here. The first one is a parent representative vacancy candidate statement. And so the LSC is composed of members of the community. We have 2, and then 2 teachers, as well as 6 parent representatives, and we were short 1. So we had to, we sent out a note. There was some interest, and we had the chance to get 2 formal registration or candidacies that came in on time, right? There was one that was a little bit late, and the person was very gracious. We said, unfortunately, it's too late, they just wanted to make sure that there was representation. So we're grateful for that. So we have 2 candidates, and please forgive me if I butcher the last name. My last name has too many vowels in it, so it's complicated as it is. So we have Laura Berrio and then Oliver Bennett. I don't think we need to do a toss-up, and then I'll go ahead and ask you. You were here first, actually. Come on in.
Okay. Do you want me to stand?
Whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable.
Now I feel awkward. Hello.
Hi.
It's a declaration. My name is Laura Bittenberry, so I actually went from one difficult name, Bit You Like I Bit You, to Berrio, which is also very difficult. That's my name, Laura Bittenberry, and
I wanted to start off by first thanking everyone in this room for being here. It was great to witness this first LSC meeting of the year and see all the hard work that you're already putting into the school year. And I'm excited here to be a new parent rep candidate. My daughter is in the pre-K program, and I'm running because really twofold. One is my experience in education. So I've worked over 13 years in education, both as an educator, so I taught high school and middle school English in Chicago Public Schools. And most recently, I was the Dean of Students of K-8 elementary school, and I was the school culture coordinator, Dean of Students. So I did a lot of work with helping to build culture, but also I sat on the instructional leadership team, and I helped support teachers and staff with all of that as well. But I decided to move away from education when my daughter was born. She was about 2 months old. That's when, as administrators, we had to begin the building, and it was remote learning. It was not an easy journey for babies, so I definitely chose to be Miss Mommy Mom at home. So I am mom, but I still want to be connected in education in some capacity. So that's why I'm excited to run for the parent LSC. I've been on the equity committee in the past as a volunteer and was their secretary at another local school that I've done before. And then I can go on and on, but basically I could be a very good resource because I've been inside and outside of the classroom in a lot of different ways. And I think the second part is that I have a very, very big passion for education and for students, not only one because I have my own now, but also because you may not, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this, but I am a first generation Assyrian American. So English was my second language. My parents had also difficult journey coming here, and they taught me an invaluable lesson that, education, no matter what, nobody can take that from you. And so that really propelled me into this field of education to move me to work hard. I'm not looking to work the 14 to 16-hour days I used to when I was in the school education setting, but I'm looking to help out in whatever way I can as a parent. And I'm so excited to help out in whatever way I can. So, yay. I'm also a children's book author, so I don't know if you've, I've done story times in the area, so I've been here at the school for a story time reading of my books in the pre-K classroom. So I think I see some familiar faces when I've come to this building to become a volunteer, which is so nice to have that here. So I've been also approved as a tier 2 volunteer, and I'm in the process of renewing it for this year as well. So yay!
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Oliver. There you go. My name is Oliver Didich. Also, I want to thank you for this opportunity to apply for the new school council vacancy, the parent council vacancy. Give you a little bit of background. I was born and raised in Macedonia, north of Greece, a small country north of Greece. Came here as an exchange student. While I lived there, a little bit of fun fact, I played water polo, ended up playing for the national team of my country and competed in the Junior Olympics with a silver medal there. So that's a little fun fact. Currently, I've done so, the passion for the sport kind of translated into when I came to the United States, I coached with Chicago Park District for some time, and then also with Windy City from Oak Park. I currently work for an energy, in the energy industry. I do a lot of volunteer work with them, a lot of projects through Chicago Food Depository, and then different building projects that we've done. Currently, one of the new initiatives that I run is we've created something called DEBI, which stands for Diversion, Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion, which is a group that kind of tries to do different segments where we do like a book club focusing on those subjects. counseling with our employees and so on. So different projects that we've done with them. The reason why I chose or I decided to apply for this position, I have a first grader. She just moved from Europe here, and we did have a little bit of worry of how she would adapt because she just studied in the pre-PA over there, and we felt like, how's this transition? It's gonna, the language barrier. And one of the positive things was, I think last weekend, my wife told me she just told us she can't wait for Monday to start going to school. So props to Pierce. I think she really enjoys it. So definitely, I feel like I bring a lot of innovation, a lot of fresh ways of looking at things, and so I would definitely enjoy or feel like I can bring something to this council. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. So to give you next step, so what we'll do is we'll actually need to go into a special session to discuss the candidates, and then be back, and then vote, and then come back into this regular session to give the results, and then formally welcome the new member. There we go.
I'll see you later.
So we are the ones that actually moved to 120. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have to vote to move into closed session.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion. Yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, I submitted mine yesterday morning, so if I was late, then that's.
Yes,
that's
and
okay.
so unfortunately, so like the deadline was Friday at 3. This last Friday.
That's fine.
But please come.
You're Aaron?
Yeah.
People keep asking me about the school, because we actually are in another neighborhood, and you just essentially cemented what I've been telling people, right? Like, people love it here at Pierce. They like the school. It's not just because they went here or whatever. People like that exemplify that. My oldest son is now at Pierce, Sen. So I feel like he needs to talk to you. So we really appreciate your interest. Please do keep us in mind. Just keep coming. We like to see. I love my fellow members here, but I like to see some faces there. So sorry.
No, it's good. I was a little nervous about even doing it.
There are elections every 2 years, and so this council just started.
Okay.
And then sometimes there are people that have to come off for various reasons.
But we can still come and just.
You can
be
come.
here. That's cool. That's
Not only you can, but you are highly encouraged.
So that is something that the committees are open.
That's right. That's right. Like you said, the other committee.
Yeah, you can join some of the subcommittees that are open to the general public.
I don't know if you get Lori's newsletter, or if there's a way for you to kind of plug into, so you can actually see the calendar on the Pierce website, like for all those meetings or anything like that. And again, piercelsc@gmail.com. Anytime you need anything, we have several pairs of eyes on there. Really want people to continue being involved. Okay. All right, so we'll
Go to 1:20.
go to 1:20. We'll be back. I'd like to make a motion to move into closed session for purposes of. Hey, let me finish. Okay. All in favor? All right, let's go.
It looks so cool, like, yeah.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Jess. Thank you for stepping into that role. Yeah, so I keep going.
Yes.
Anyway. Yes. So much of it is just like,
Which I don't know, late determination.
I'm with y'all.
Monday morning. But I don't know if they did it for some reason, it was like, I thought it was being.
Nice to meet you.
There's two, Anna who.
You're the.
Yeah.
So. what-
Yeah, oh, you can.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and.
Here's service organizations, so we put together, like, we work with kids a lot, but they do fundraising and then more fundraising, just fundraising. And we do like event planning and like volunteer coordinating for, like back to school picnic.
That was, I was there, it was much like a picnic, we brought food and we saw, people just.
I assumed so it was
great.
She's in pre-K.
Then,
Yeah.
I was COVID.
My,
Then, we had funds,
she's,
reopening
not the
funds,
same
from
area,
CPS
but
to cater
and then.
stuff, so we
Could be
import
wrong,
this
but
stuff.
my uncle's.
So the
looking
names
for-
of the picnic, so the very first thing, because everything in ours is branded and sent out, and so like my very first point of order was it's back to school fest children. Because we just can't guarantee
In-
the level of,
YouTube,
yeah. Because, yeah, picnic, and it's free. The name definitely applies if they're either whoever you picnic baskets, but there will be food beyond like the 10 watermelons I sliced in the kitchen that morning. I definitely booted myself. So, I put on a video. That was, and we had chips, and the budget was, and, yeah, and I didn't want to ask for more funds for it, because but I was like, there are bigger priorities. Like, the goal here is to meet the teacher, not to like have your best Thursday ever on the tour. So, like, you can play one. Yeah.
It was hard, but that's not the one.
I'm the president of PSO, which is for FLT, so we're just talking about specifically the back to school event, which will be called a festival going forward. Although historically it wasn't, I think we bring that back, but food for thought for next year. We just been trying to have a transition year because it had been catered for a couple of years, and so I didn't want to go from like we're catering burgers and hot dogs to like here's an icy chip and the cheapest thing your kids pull out is $8. Yeah. So we're trying to have a like free one. So I know a lot about what chip vendors are halal. That was my experience. It's not just one thing I learned because I grew up with a lot of kosher, and so kosher, boom, simple, done. There are a lot of kinds of just one. So.
And
Yeah,
Friends of Peers, has that been around for a while?
It has been, yeah, like 12, 13 years now.
I remember that when I was younger.
Yeah, as an official 501c3, it's been 13 years. But it is all volunteer staffed, so.
Yeah, but we would love anyone's help with PSL.
I think I signed up. I'm like the parent rep for my.
You're a rep?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Well, yeah, so you'll be getting emails from Cecilia.
Yeah.
Currently, yeah.
Miss Gableman, she said she's gonna give me a roster.
Yes, we finally got that approved.
Yeah.
There was this whole thing where legal was like, you can't give out any of the
I actually
names
was
of the
wondering, I'm like,
class.
that's an easy export, like. is that
And,
not-
so now we just heard back from legal,
Okay.
it's okay, but like, they had historically, yeah, just the names. So we can assign, and then we fill it out, otherwise, we're like, you don't know, like, we know, we have the list of 4th graders say, and then we know, like, odds are they're in 5th grade this year, but we don't know what class they're in, so like, trying to say like, oh, that person's parent, so they aren't giving me like, home address or anything, it's just literally like, here are the 29 kids in this class, here's the 29 kids, and then we try to get them to opt in, but they historically given us that data, and then legal said maybe you can't, and so there was a pause, so some of the teachers got back to room rep saying, we can't give you that information, and now they can, so it's just been a lot of like.
But in pre-K, no one will have had that, so.
Yeah, so pre-K is always kind of new and wild, and the pre-K system in CBS has been wild in that not everyone who goes to pre-K here will be here in kindergarten. Because they might not be in boundary, they might need a lottery in.
Yeah.
Preschool, run by CPS is an entirely separate animal. So you'll have less involvement because of that, because people don't want to get like deeply involved in the school if they're gonna be at Gowdy next year,
Yeah.
you know, for kindergarten.
Yeah.
So, so I'm thrilled that you are getting involved. We have a hard time. Are you pre-K4
I'm PK4.
at the branch?
Yes, I am. Okay.
Would you like to be my special branch liaison?
Sure.
Our other person graduated.
You have contacted moving.
Yes, yes, I think I do my stuff. That's always a problem too, is like you guys are out like, and we want to make them feel like, and teachers especially to feel like appreciated and involved. Like we do, we cater lunch during parent-teacher conference and stuff like that. And so then the branch, so then sometimes like run over there with 12 hours. Like, I won't be keeping that, but just like having a point of contact. That the branch didn't exist. My kid is in 3rd grade, so it didn't exist. She was like COVID pre-K. So she went to Catholic. Because I needed her, and so, yeah, they were like, you'll be virtual for an hour, and I was like, poor dress. Oh, yeah, no, Catholic schools are trying to all in session. So.
I like having the branch because it's scaffolds within them, because having worked in elementary school, I had 8th graders like saying things in front of the little, because I was
Like my daughter had some, we did parent play dates over the summer, and one of my daughter was like, one time on the playground, I heard 8th graders say, well, thanks for sharing, like, you give it to yourself. I'm like, that was the first time she did it too. She's right. Like we have this pristine household where everyone just, no, she heard that word. She's like, I want the new parents. Yes, I do have that time.
My daughter.
But I would love to give a number of ESL.
How about Yeah, and either way, like.
I forget, I'm so bad, I'm so trying to get it.
I can also share so you can always push.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And where did you say your family was from?
Oh my God, Syrian.
Okay.
They were all boarding around.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Nobody.
No, I know.
Can guess that I'm Syrian, but I'm first generation. I was born a year after leaving America, but like I have a twin sister that like we use each other to like sort of like learn.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then I taught. Yeah. There's a mom of a second grader in a kindergarten.
Oh. I just did it.
And Northwest Rhode
Yes.
Greece, maybe take North Macedonia, South Macedonia.
Yeah, I didn't know that I got rejected, but I was like, thank goodness, sorry. It's a long story. Oh, cool. Both of them, like, I don't know. I do want to be, I like to be involved, but.
And it's so, it was always Macedonia, but then the Greeks.
I'll
Greeks
love
are
it.
I didn't know that. So they're like, you're gonna be teaching. Yeah.
I love Hollywood.
Oh, totally. Like, it was Greece.
I learned some words in Greece, or in Greek, sorry.
I'm on about 3 houses down
I
from
don't know
church.
if it's appropriate.
On the other
The
side.
phrase that you learned, yeah.
I know, they love native.
I'm 14, 13.
They love native.
Is that
During
there?
the one time.
Oh, okay. But just something their youngest was a second grader.
Oh, that's even all.
Oh, yes.
And then there's, I don't know.
It's like you family, so that there's also like you feel like communication is like setting.
But the whole stuff, she's
I
on the
know,
other
right?
side. She's like my actual, like, my actual stuff.
What is it?
And she's also, she's not 15, but she's pretty much mine.
To just like be a little more.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
proactive.
So what we want to do is help parent, and then across the street,
Yeah.
because I think the second house and from the corner.
S'mores from,
Yeah.
we call them s'mores just because that's the sound of where the things that.
Wow.
And I'm a little more reasonable. But we had an email that was just parent groups. We're also got WhatsApp groups for the different
Next
parent
one,
groups
we're
for
going Victoria, that was second grader.
There are definite populations that are
Well, you know,
Well, because we all of like,
nothing that goes to our
the girls in
transit.
like literally walk the alley and say.
Spanish population.
Well, now,
So
kindergarten, we were like.
that's a mix. So yeah, we're trying to like.
There's always nice to get there before everyone else. My son has classes up for.
And you're twins or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, we're kind of 2 years old.
Yeah, I know, we're just like so.
And last year was a great time.
Yeah, just Boston and that.
Even the kids should probably come on the movie, so they should have like.
On October 25th. So
But it is funny, though, when they do the.
this is just 2 more years of like
my
preschool
daughter
before,
grew
and then when she goes to
the
kindergarten.
person
then
whose
there's more
platform
choices.
was
So she'll be
based
like
around
in the
Reset
first class.
Friday, which is where you sit where everyone on lunchroom on Fridays.
Yeah, but I didn't
Like,
take
didn't
that.
even ask them, she was
Well, we-
every week, just garbage.
Oh.
So,
So her pre-K.
yeah, the person who wanted Reset Friday, didn't, like, it didn't pass, or I don't know, it was this whole thing, so you have to like sit in your class and sit where we want on Friday. So, but it's cute when they come up, and like, I'm always.
Oh, yeah.
Very
That's
much
why
so.
I know. She wasn't eligible. I don't want Oh, yeah, let's be that involved.
So long, like, some of these. But.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, try that,
You guys tried to do Google Calendar for Pierce, that's very cool. Yes, I will, I'll text you, do you make your number?
I think so, because
I used to be other friends.
through the neighborhood, I didn't know her.
Were you in that,
No, we were out of town.
Okay, so I'll text you my name, and I'll text you as well. And then, oh, that's so weird, that's my name. I know, right? Yeah, it is. Oh, that's so funny. It's
Literally, I never heard of that.
Oh, but it's fun.
I honestly didn't think of it.
That's so
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, I haven't done with her.
And then I saw I was like, my mouth dropped because they came. She came and she's like,
And I'll text you.
oh, I was like,
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
Awesome. So we're excited that you guys, and we'll get there and love feedback. So if you guys have questions on anything, there's so many different languages, so we have budget for the guys.
Honestly, we just moved to the neighborhood. It was one of the main reasons that we also chose the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we're like.
So what brought you guys to neighborhood?
There, she has
I
obviously a group of
found
friends.
myself like, my wife is from, my wife is born and raised over here, and raised in this part, but
She worked first.
it's kind of all I really know, and I like it.
So,
And then so I think.
we need to see how it goes. And so, yeah, so first day was.
Good, wow.
2017 or 2016, we moved out there because her family owns a house.
So.
Yes.
And so,
Oh, yeah.
little enough of the house already paid off.
I know, there are 2 years of the third grade brownies,
At our
and
kitchen
we
over
got
there
her
and
Girl Scouts
everything.
and
It's
Scouts
just,
girls
it's not the best
who
way,
moved
and
from
all my
Russia.
family over here, 'cause it's like a
The
4
first
drive.
one.
I got
And by the end of the year, she was just like,
And
woo,
an
like,
apartment came
and
up,
transitioning her
and-
parents, of course, and like, her mom was doing amazing, but like, you know, they always do it over.
Yeah, plus I
Like,
truly,
she,
I really didn't
so
like
quick,
it.
and it's amazing.
I was like, oh man, look at that, I'm driving to Pierce.
Let's do the 45 minutes.
Oh,
Anyways, very nice to meet you both. I did
Oh,
have
but I got
the.
really involved in
Yeah.
Pierce School Create, okay, good meeting.
Guys, I hope to see you again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, you guys are watching together. Welcome.
On the same block, yeah.
I love it.
So what have changed since you
Yeah.
were here? I guess tell us
This gym
the
floor
story.
is the same, I know.
This looks exactly the same. I mean, the logo is different, the definitely logo. is different. Oh, you're right, yeah. I was on the basketball team here, I was on the soccer team, we had like accelerated reading, we read books, get points, but that's gone. A lot of teachers, it's crazy, I came to enroll my kids here, and I just heard one of the teachers' voices, and then I said, excuse me, she looked, and she's like, and I was like, Ms. Thompson? But it was weird when we called her something. I'm really, you know, like, oh my God. So yeah, that was cool. But again, like I just moved back to Neighborhood after being away for 7 years. So Belmont Cragen.
Oh, that's right.
Someone's in Central over there. yeah, I mean, I know the neighborhood like the back of my hand. I went to graduate in Sen. I'm a neighborhood kid, so I know a lot out over here. But I'm happy that you guys, like I said, are running. I was having anxiety about it. I really didn't want to.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, we saved it.
I didn't know. I came in and I was like,
Why should we? Well, I was like, where do we go? Where do we go?
I know.
What are you doing?
What exactly are
next week. But I will say, when I was here, I remember when I graduated, I was literally in the grad, I swear. And now I'm like, I don't see that much that, which I'm not, it's just something else, you know, like a lot more organic than I was here, a lot less. I see now.
If you don't have enough seats, there's a pile of chairs right there.
Happens right now.
I'm ready for
Do you ever spend time in this one? I traveled everywhere south of America. So Brisbane was a nice place to stay. The Taliban would be pretty there, but it was a nice town. Mountains. I have no idea what the actual name of it's called.
Remember we said snacks?
What'd you say?
Remember we talked about snacks or favorite something?
Snacks?
Yeah.
Is that a community system?
Don't mean to come talk about it.
Snacks committee.
Like, I was there. That was a place to sell.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
think
Round up
for
chocolate
3 years.
house.
And then so my graduate was late.
Dude, man, what year? What
And
year?
I have my sister for now. And she's
That's your honor.
yeah.
I was there. I understand it. 2011.
I don't know.
I started in 99. We're still best.
I don't know how.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Why would you call
It's not successful. There's nothing crazy.
one of the girls, for sure. The other, 50-50.
I would like a motion for us to go back into open session.
All in favor?
Oh, I gotta break this down. So our motion to go into open session.
So we're back into our regular
Who's first?
meeting.
Who made the motion? All right.
And Nicole, who's second?
I got this.
Hold on a
All
second.
right. All right, we're in open session, and I'll make the motion. I need to also take notes here.
So we need to know like each vote, the voice vote? Yes. Okay. So voice vote, we need to write down who voted.
All right. Yeah, roll call vote. All right, so I'll make a motion to nominate Oliver as the parent rep to fill the open parent rep seat.
Second.
And then a second by Adolfo.
You want to do a roll call?
Look, discussion and then roll call?
Oh, discussion. No, personally, again, I'd like to thank both of you for your candidacy. We're fortunate to have all three of you, actually. We're fortunate to have that interest. So please do continue supporting the school and the LSC for one of you. Thank you again.
Yeah, I'll do the roll call. I'm just gonna read it off the agenda. I know Principal Zhang is
I
abstaining.
abstain always in these votes, just as my position, I don't feel it's appropriate to vote for a parent rep on council.
And Matthew,
Oliver?
But, yeah, the
That's
Oliver
yes.
is a vote, yes.
yes.
Yes. Oliver, yes.
Next, I say yes. Rocky is absent. Leek?
Yes.
All right, Sonia?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Lamont?
Yes.
Adolfo?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
That's the whole roll.
All right. So the vote's siren. Oliver? Congratulations. The motion passes. We have a seat there, it's a little tight, but, you know. Yeah, and so, and again, we're very, very fortunate. This is, I was a little bit, you know, personally, you know, I don't like vacancies like this, so I'm really glad that we got to fill it. I'm very fortunate, we are very fortunate. So thank you very much again for your interest. Please continue being involved, and please continue participating. Thank you again.
Nicole had a request that you join the equity committee.
I've done that in the past, I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm involved with the parent. If you want me on your team as a parent, I'll reconsider.
Got it. Thank you again.
We're still on new business, and there was items to add to it.
That's correct. So the next,
I'm sorry, I have to go around, thank you.
thank you so much. Yeah, so we had a couple of items here, so, and I think going forward, I'm gonna keep that, any new items that need to be added to the agenda. So I think we talked about the fundraiser for the Fall Fest approval.
I need to make sure I get them right, because we don't have any notes.
Sure, so fundraiser for Fall Fest. And then, the second one.
The other one was Mesman Destin from Northwestern, along with, I have on my printer, I think it's Justin, would like to have some time on the agenda to present their findings from last year's research.
Yeah, so Mesman, Destin, and Brendan Dahl.
I'm gonna have to ask you in email for spelling of those.
Sure, of course. It's in Laura's report, in the October meeting.
You have the CIWP goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be a vote to revise the CWIP goals.
There was one more fundraiser.
Was the babysitting and the Fall Fest fundraiser. So babysitting for leasing and fundraiser, and Fall Fest for fundraiser.
We have 4 items.
I'm missing something here.
So-
Fall
so-
Fest fundraiser and Fall Fest event? Lease.
No, we voted on this.
I thought we did.
We did
So-
Fall Fest leasing.
Yeah,
We
so
did not do Fall Fest fundraiser.
that's right.
So I got Fall Fest fundraising, then babysitting,
Leasing
and
and
fundraiser. Okay.
And the PPLC.
That's for me to add it to the list of committee reports.
Mhm.
And then, so then the other two are, the Northwestern report, and then the CIWP goals vote.
I have a couple new items for next time. One is, there's a request to revive the 48 Ward Halloween Parade that kicks off from Pierce. So I just want to add that to the agenda in case there's anything that we might need to do. It seems like we might not, but we can put that on there, just in case. And then the question about ventilation, do we want to add that to the agenda or like in principal's report, or how do we want to?
So the question was if the council sign on to a letter for the state rep, right?
And if it's an official
Question
act, we
was-
need to vote on.
Would the LSC write a letter supporting the bill on on behalf of Pierce. And the bill is the Indoor Air Quality and Health School Act. Health Schools.
Can we add that to the agenda for discussion and vote next time?
Is there a due date for that?
It's a good question.
I am going in there.
I don't think the state is around it.
This is a state or city.
So it's been introduced, it needs to pass the House. It doesn't really say what the next steps are. More in this bill. It says that it has been introduced.
And then that list of questions from Jen, how do we wanna tackle some of those?
I feel like those are just direct responses. I don't know, I don't think that they're agenda items.
Yeah, so I think, let's see, when they come into the inbox, we'll go ahead and forward it to everyone. And then I'll collect, comments from everyone so that we can create a draft back and then send it back out. I would say that's probably the fastest
And
way.
then Eric had questions also.
That's right. So the question that you asked, like we're trying to kind of like do like formalize the process of responding to them. So yeah, so we'll do the same thing once we get them, send them out to everyone for comment.
It's gonna be great.
Just for the demographics question from Eric, if you could share that principles Amy with the whole council, because I don't know if folks are updated on that, and then that'll give some more context to some of these numbers. Just the answer to the question I want kind of everyone to know, like that Eric was asking about, like why is this calling out African American students and IEP students, and that's because those are that was the focus of the goals based on what the school decided needed to be areas of focus that they wanted to see improvement in.
I think we want to know the percentage, right?
Yeah.
Of the school. In previous report, I think we used to show that the referral percent, school percent,
Yeah.
gender percent.
Yeah, so in next month's report, I'll start to share disaggregated data by race for referrals. So it was only 2 weeks of school, there were no referrals, but I know that over the next month, it's very likely that we will have referrals.
Well, break protocol for a second. For some of this is public, like CPS publishes a lot of this, so on the CPS website, it's not going to be everything. It's not going to be this month, but some of that stuff is like just publicly out there to find out. But I think we're right that you absolutely have the most accurate current information.
Along with that, since we talk about numbers, so I know Eric said he had started looking at those numbers for the CIWP. I encourage people to take a look at it, and especially taking a look at the improvements that were made based on baseline and expected results, just to kind of like familiarize yourselves. This is something that, I was glad to see, right? So I just want to make sure that people understand what's happened in terms of those measurable goals that we had. It's a 3-year process, and so to see that there's an improvement at this juncture is encouraging. It's actually thrilling, I should say. So I encourage folks to take a look at that. Maybe we can have more conversations about that. I was involved in the CIWP as a parent. I learned a bunch of things that I didn't know. Of course, I didn't. I just didn't. So it was great. So I'm more versed, and I know what I'm looking at right now. So happy to have that conversation next time.
I'm going to add one to new business, and it's what we're discussing about here. What's the right process, and how do we communicate back and forth? And do we publish something ahead of time? Do we go back and forth in email? So I think we should establish sort of what's our routine for a question comes in. So I feel like some of the questions that get emailed in really aren't board business so much as someone just doesn't know how to ask Principal Amy or the admins, what's this piece of information? Some of those could be answered the same day if someone had the right channel. So I think that we could establish a process for being able to get through public comments without spending an hour on every meeting. So I want to throw that in the agenda as process for that.
Can we also have like another equity committee with membership vote on the agenda for next time too, so we can add more members?
We probably should put both of them, as I've seen before, like
Yeah.
there's you establish a committee, but then once the committee meets and they figure out who their members are, they bring that role to the board, and the board says, we accept this is the roster of the committee.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to write it down, just vote to accept committee members. And since I'm on a roll here, and the committees are going to talk, are they going to submit, what was it, it's not a charter, whatever the rules are for the committee. No, they're going to meet, and then after that, if they want to revise and say, that'll be another meeting. I'm done with that one.
You're good. Oliver, what I need is your email address. Or you can piercelsc@gmail.com, and then I'll take it from there. Thank you. Just make sure you put that in. All right. Any other items? This was helpful, actually, because in addition to me asking, hey, what do you guys want, that just, now that we have that, and we'll make that part of the minutes, is helpful. All right. So next item is public participation. That's funny. Let me see if we have any other. I'm not seeing any.
Them two have not spoken yet.
What's that?
They really get MVP award.
I'm taking them for ice cream after this. Seriously. What do you want?
Very precious. We almost 2.5 hour meeting.
My son can go 2.5 seconds.
He's taking.
The meeting is usually rather long.
Yes.
What's about?
Yes, Matthew.
Wow.
The answer is yes.
I know Lori's trying to change that.
I don't think it's possible. Oh, no.
I've set a record before.
Yeah.
In quickness?
When I chaired the HOA meetings, I took them from 2 hours to 30 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, let's add a vote for timekeeper to next time.
You mean in terms of in terms of, I'm
Like
sorry,
adding a role, yeah.
you want to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, to vote for a timekeeper for next time. So we have other roles in the bylaws that we have not filled yet, so timekeeper is one of them. But there are others if we want to, like the sergeant of arms role. Just a reminder that those are options.
Maybe we could put on the just agenda discussion of open roles.
Yeah, I think aiming for 90 minutes would be reasonable.
Good luck. I'm all
It
for
goes
it.
off the rails after the first public presentation. Regularly.
Yeah.
Principal Amy has 30 minutes and doesn't even use it.
We can, part to do that is to circulate emails and everyone knowing exactly what's going on. So the meeting is primarily a voting. But we can discuss that. Is there anything else in new business? Or do we move to public participation?
Yeah, then.
Next item, real quick, announcements, comments. I'd like to
Open houses next Wednesday,
open house.
4:30 to 6, with the sexual health information session happening at 5:15.
Yeah, sorry about that. Quick question. Yeah, the sexual health was, is that for all ages? I have a first and second grader. But do I have to bring them? Is that something that's,
You don't have, it's an opportunity to just get an overview of the.
okay. And yeah, actually
The
that,
curriculum.
yeah, that you said that, my kids were at Dr. Ori and Matthew Science Academy before. And one thing I did not like was they were, hopefully I don't sound, I wanted to teach my kids about certain things, and I think they taught them about, transgender and they, them, and a lot of other things that I wasn't prepared to teach them. And so I do want to be fully transparent with that. Like I would like Pierce to be transparent with us as parents to say, hey, this is what we're going over, a detailed topic list, and so I know I'm prepared for what they're learning. And that was my daughter.
CPS standard, right?
So as a district, there is curriculum that we implement, and parents are able to look at that curriculum regarding sexual health and ask like questions and opt out of certain lessons if parents choose to. We also believe in affirming individual identities of our students and our community and staff, and wanting to make sure that we are valuing individuals regardless of their identity.
For sure.
Traits of their identity.
I agree on every level. I was caught off guard. I was just caught off guard that my son was in kindergarten telling me things on. I wasn't prepared for that. So that's just something I felt
Making
lost.
sure parents have the information so that they can like engage in those conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I say, so my son's in second grade now, he's been here since kindergarten, and I think that the program has been perfectly fine. I haven't had any objections, but I understand, yeah. You want to know what they're saying before they say it.
Yeah, definitely. No,
And
definitely.
my objection is
I
that the
just wanna
kids
know.
teaching each other words.
Yeah.
We'll always do that. Fun words.
Opt out because my son Zacharias is 7th, Hezekiah is in 3rd, and then Zachariah is 6th grade. So I opted out. So you do get the choice. Option, opt out.
Yeah. Any other announcements, comments?
The other one is not an agenda item, but I believe there's a citywide board election this year. And I remember there was a District 2, someone running for a district. And we had discussed with that person, did she reach out? Or
So there are 4 of them that are candidates for our district, which is called District 2.
Yeah.
So 2 of them will be elected, and I believe 2 of them will be appointed. I don't know about other members of the committee or the council, but that one of these candidates reached out to me and actually expressed interest in attending one of the LSC meetings to introduce themselves. Tonight didn't work out because it was conflicting events. So we should expect, hopefully, that one of them would be joining one of these meetings, or at least reach out. So.
Has anyone reached out to you, Principals Amy? I'm so curious. Wow, okay. So there's a candidate forum at Lane Tech, October 5th at 11:30.
For District 2?
For our district, yeah.
11:30
11:30 a.m. on Saturday.
When? October what?
5th.
I think we had shared something that was held at Amundsen in this morning's letter as well.
Yes, there was a candidate forum at Amundsen that has already passed. There's a recording of that somewhere.
There's,
Yeah.
Would like to see the recording.
Yeah, if they could attend, that would be great. I'm interested in what's gonna be the relationship between the local LSEs and the board.
Mhm.
Since it's the first time half of the board, I think, is being elected.
Correct.
And the other half is still nominated.
There was also a forum hosted by Raise Your Hand just for LSC members to meet candidates and to have that conversation.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that sort of thing, the Raise Your Hand group on the email list is a good resource. So some of us were at that forum too.
Okay, great. I'll look into that.
Another comment or announcement, just a reminder that the Argyle Lunar New Year Parade is next February. I don't know exactly what the date is, but
He's gonna have a float.
this past year we had a float, and so I would like to. I'm going to reach out to our friends at FOP and PSO to see what can be done about perpetuating this tradition to have a float during the parade, or any other parade for that matter. So just want to plug that in there. So.
Can we just add that to the agenda?
It's going to be an announcement.
We're gonna have the next meeting on the float.
The number of students in our parade.
Just don't get caught up with the local.
No, well, that's true. All right. Next item on the agenda is to check on our norms. So, again, as usual, I want to thank everyone for their participation. I know that these run long. I found today's meeting to be particularly relaxed and informative, and so thank you all for that. All right. Next item on the agenda is to motion to adjourn.
Second.
I need to make a motion.
I'm gonna make.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
My neighbors are saying, when are you gonna pick up your son?
All in favor? Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch. And Oliver, again, welcome.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, nice. I play water polo. Oh, really? I know, we're like, I didn't know that, so.
Same here.
There's so many good things about you, Chad.
Oh, I appreciate you. And he's good.